What is up, guys? Back out here in the shop. Today is December 26th, the day after Christmas. Right now it's about 10:30 in the morning and my little son is still asleep, which is a very rare occurrence around here. Normally he's up by 7 or 8. So I guess that means we wore him out. We were successful on Christmas. We all had an awesome day. But I'm back out here and I want to make a lumber rack out of scraps that I have. The wall that I want to be my lumber storage. I have two issues. One is I only get half a garage space where I live at now because of my kids. They take over the other half. The other obstacle I have in my way is the garage door framing up here. So I can slide in and out and go above that. That's not too big of a thing. Three things I actually have is our electrical box, or a fuse box. I'm gonna have to build around that. I've got to clean, so before we can start any of that, we have to clean this mess up. I'm going to measure from the ceiling to the top of this brick here. Alright, so now that I know the width or the length from the ceiling to the concrete part, I can measure that to 96 inches and line it up on the miter saw. I put both pieces together just for an easier cut. It was about this time I realized all that wood that was on the lumber storage rack before was in the way. And for this next part, I simply just strung the tape measure the length of the 96 boards, measured 12 inches from one end, 12 inches from the other. That's a nice hoodie. And then from that 12-inch mark, I measured down 2 feet, got my mark. Measured down 2 more feet, got the other mark.
Mom, you want me to show you this?
That looks good.
Oh, do you want your Pokemon pencil?
I do. Thank you. Yeah, it looks good. Tell Mommy I said it looks good. For this next part here, I'm just taking my squaring up the lines that I made with the tape measure earlier and transferring those lines to the shorter face for drilling the Forstner holes that will accept the 3-inch screws. Alright, for this next step for the main supports going vertically, I'm going to use a 3/8 inch Forstner bit. I want to go 1 inch into the 2x4, and that way I'll still have probably an inch solid material to screw into the studs into the wall. We've got all the holes drilled for the main supports going vertically. I thought about cutting out the shapes that are going to hold the shelves for the actual shelving for the wood before and just install them, but I think I'm going to go ahead and install all of the shafts going vertically, and then from there we'll go and make the templates and stuff like that for the actual shelving. Okay, so what I'm going to be using to install and mount the beams going vertically are 3-inch drywall screws. Probably not going to focus on those too well, but that's why I went ahead and pre-drill with a Forstner bit so I could get at least halfway through the 4-inch of the 2x4. and allow for most of the grab to go through the drywall and into the studs in the back wall. Okay, I wanted to go ahead and put this in about how I drew out my shelves. Like I state later in the video, I did mess up the length to begin with. I simply just measured on the right ones. I measured the entire length of the top shelf to 16 inches. Then I measured down 3 inches. And then on the face that will actually attach to the stud here, I measured down 8 inches on the final shelving. These first initial little ones I messed up on, and I wasn't taking into account the actual width of the 4-inch 2x4. And after that, we went to the sliding miter saw. I decided to do the sliding miter saw here just because it was the simplest way to cut the angles. Possibly not the safest, but I had to angle the boards to get the angle of the bottom shelf. And there I have my first piece. And I can just use it as a template for the rest of the pieces to lay out on the board, trace, and then rinse and repeat on the miter saw. Alright, so morning 2 of the project begins. Last night I went out to dinner with my family and spent some time with them. But before that, right before we left, I come back out here in my dress clothes, which you saw a clip of earlier, and I went ahead and installed a couple more beams and put a couple of the shelves on here just to see kind of how it would be laid out. So gonna get the rest of these studs installed, and then we're getting close to completion. After we get the studs in, just measure down for each of the shelves and we should be good to go. Another one bites the dust. Also have the next one that I'm going to do. I have 3 pieces. 3 pieces extra. This is actually leftovers from a old door headboard that I restored. So I'm just going to put these 3 pieces in place. Tack them bad boys down. So I installed the rest of the studs. Didn't include all that footage because it's pretty much rinse and repeat, and then we could start installing the shelving brackets. So I measured the way I did it. I measured down 12 inches from the ceiling, installed the first one, and then 11 inches down from there. Yeah, let's start filling this bad boy up. I'm gonna try to store all my similar pallet wood that I have left over together. Alright guys, the lumber storage rack is complete. Am I happy with the overall project? Yes, I'm very happy. It freed up the little wall, I guess you could say, I made for the garage door. Now I can use that as space. And then also just in general, more space in the shop. Like I said, one of the goals here was to have this space available to where I could get under it and still be able to do stuff over here. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Ended up, like I said, I did make a couple of mistakes in the project. You can notice that those little shelves over there are a lot smaller than these are. I wasn't taking into consideration the thickness of the 2x4 when I cut my first shelving, I guess you could call them, templates. I wasn't taking into consideration the 4 inches I was going to lose. I just had a brain fart, I guess. But overall, like I said, I wanted to have someplace I could store just offcuts and smaller pieces. Here I have some of the exotic woods I have. Up above that, 4x4s. I've got a big piece of walnut up there. The whole length of it is 8 feet, and these 2 shelves here are 4 feet. So, well, 2 feet apart, 16 inches. But I'm very happy with the way it turned out. I hope I was able to help you do something. I know there's thousands of other lumber rack tutorials out there, but I'm getting this shop started, and I wanted to bring y'all through the process and also have this for a memory for me of what this little shop used to look like with me when we go on and I move and I build another shop. And it's always good to know where you started, before you get there. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I post every Tuesday, Shop Tip Tuesday, and then I post one regular woodworking video a week. That might be dampened down a little bit because I did have to get a cast put on my arm, but we will be doing something every week. And if you enjoyed it also, please feel free to give it a like and check out our website. It's www.drayswoodshop.com. I'll put a link down in the description. And hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, take it easy.